Hi everyone. Hope you're having a good start to the year 2025. So happy New Year to all of you. In this video, I'm going to talk about Google Ads Scripts. Google Ads Scripts is a very useful tool if you are looking to automate parts of your work, if you don't want to get stuck with all the manual stuff. And from reporting to actually carrying out a lot of actions within the account, you can do so many things with scripts. So I'm going to show you a particular script here. The whole point of this video is to show you how you can actually get started with scripting, even if you are not a technical person. A non-tech person can also do it, and no prizes for guessing. This is, of course, using the help of tools like ChatGPT or other LLMs, GenAI tools. They are going to help you generate code, but you need to know how to prompt. And there'll also be situations where you get stuck, so you can't just start with a completely blank slate. You need to have some knowledge of what you're doing, of what scripting is all about. And I'll just show you and guide you how you can actually, develop just that enough amount of knowledge that will help you get started with this without having to master coding from scratch. So this is going to be the output of the particular script I'm talking about. So this is a very simple product data script. It will fetch product ID. It will be completely blank, this particular Google Sheet. This will have product ID, cost, conversions, clicks, impressions, conversion rate, and cost per conversion. Now, these data up till here, and this can also be edited. The script can be updated to this also, but the way it has been done so far is it's going to fetch this data for the last 30 days. That's how it has been written. So if I just go back a little bit up, you'll see that it's for the last 30 days of data. And as you can see here, so that's last 30 days. And this can also be edited. It can be for any number of days you want. And then it's also going to calculate this particular column, cost per conversion. And then it's also going to create these charts. So it's basically simple charts where you are segmenting, not really segmenting, but sort of creating tiers, product tiers by cost, conversions, clicks, and conversion rate. So it's a simple exercise, but I'll show you even to achieve this, there's been quite a bit of effort. And this is, by the way, only being done for performance max campaigns. And to achieve that, also I had to actually really discuss with ChatGPT. I'm saying discuss because that's how really it is, right? Prompting is more about discussing. You have to get into a very meaningful conversation with the Gen AI tools and make them aware of what you're thinking, what you are experiencing, what you are encountering, sharing the errors with them and all of that. So, uh, let's just quickly look at the script. So this is how the script really looks like. It builds the query, then processes the reports. So within a script, basically you will have different functions. So it starts with the main function, and then you have a configuration set up in many cases, especially if you are going to output the data to something third party like a Google Sheet. Otherwise, you can also just log it if you're just looking at a kind of a Google script. It's mostly when you're experimenting, when you're just starting off and you just want to check whether the script is working properly or not. So this is what you often do. You put the spreadsheet URL, you put the date range, you put the campaign name. So those are configurations. Then you build the query, then you give the date range. You set the formatting for date ranges. You process the report. This is how the Google Sheet is going to be processed. What are the rows and columns that are going to be fetched from Google Ads? And so by the way, this of course is after going into the script section, this is what you create, right? You create a new script, give it a name, just authorize it, and just preview and run it. So then you will have the different headers in the sheet. So these are the headers that I've gotten created. Okay, and all of this is entirely done by LLM. So I have not written any part of this code actually, but I have helped, I've nudged the LLM tool or the Gen AI tool. And the reason I'm saying this, instead of ChatGPT is because I've also used another one. If you're not familiar with it, it's called Anthropic Claude. Claude is also a very useful Gen AI tool. And those who indulge in this kind of stuff, they are actually using it on a very, very regular basis. And for technical stuff, technically for coding, for scripting, Claude is generally better. It has a very similar pricing tier, I think around $23 a month, just like ChatGPT. So once it formats all the data, it also creates some charts like I just showed. So that's the script, and I'll also now walk you through the actual the API. So let's actually look at the API documentation. So or let's actually look at the chat first before looking at the API documentation. So this is the discussion I had with ChatGPT. I'll start off right at the beginning. I'll show you that I was trying to do something where it would give me the total Tmax spend in last 7 days. Okay. Now this actually did not, I hadn't mentioned Google Ads script, so it created a Python script. I'm familiar with Python. I would be able to run it and all, but always that's not going to solve my purpose. Um, Google Ads script uses something called a GAQL. Okay, it's basically an extension of the SQL language, and that's what it partly uses. So then I mentioned that it has to be a Google Ads script, and then it went on to create a Google Ads script, as you can see. And this is, it also gives you the sample output apart from the actual code and then the instructions. That's it. In seconds, it's going to generate that for you. The problem is that it's not always going to be correct the first time. In most cases, it will not be correct. And especially when it comes to ChatGPT, you will need to tweak it a lot. In fact, the script that's given here is not correct at all. I tried it so many times, and you'll see in a moment here what I'm talking about. So immediately I got an error, and I just shared the error. Okay, I didn't say anything else. I just, I was testing ChatGPT. I was trying to see if it's able to figure out the error. So you can see what this error says, that there are unrecognized fields in the query. It's not even able to recognize those fields. Okay, so so basically it's probably got the I immediately understood that it's probably a case of not recognizing the not using the proper API components, not using proper components from the API documentation. But when I shared the query error, I asked, it generated an updated script. It said that it has made some changes, has replaced the GAQL query. So the point is that it tries to identify, once you share the error with it, it tries to it tries to identify where the error actually has occurred, and then it you know does its stuff again, whatever it does. So it probably went back to the API documentation or not. Maybe it just looked at website sources. We don't know. That's the problem. It's just working at the back end, right? So it said that the expected output is going to be like this, like it's going to tell me the total number. So this is going to be just a log. So the output is supposed to be logged, as you can see. Logging means that within Google script environment itself, you will be able to log. So that's where you will be able to see the output. But it says that it's going to be in this format, but it didn't. So once I found that it's not able to actually do what it's supposed to do, then I asked it directly, do you have access to version 18? So I'll show you now what actually I mean by version 18. So I hope you can see this. So this is Google Ads API, as you can see, and you will have to go to developers.google.com, and from there you will be able to. So actually, let me just show you quickly. So you will have to go to developer.google.com. Okay, and from there you can find Google Ads API. Okay, so this is where you'll be able to find um, the Google Ads API essentially. So that's ads.google.com, right? You can directly search as well. You can go to products, I believe, or maybe not. So that's going to take a while. So just search Google Ads API documentation. and it's going to take you there. Okay. And within that, once you're there, you'll see that there's guides, performance max, videos, reference reports, all of these things. So performance max is a separate section, as you understand. It's a new campaign type. And then there's a reference. So the reference is what you would be looking at. And you can see on the left-hand side here, there are three versions, right? Version 16, 17. And you see that this deprecation signs have been added beside 16 and 17. So it's 18, which is the recent one, which is why I knew this. And this is what you will have to check, because what Google Ads does is it, regularly updates the API documentation. It releases new versions. So we'll have to be aware of these latest versions all the time. So since I was aware of it, even if I'm not aware, I'll just jump into this section here in case I might have missed some update from it. I have subscribed. I'm always, keeping updated about latest API releases. So I was aware of this, and once I jumped in here, I just confirmed that, and I kind of passed on this information to ChatGPT. I told them, "Do you have access to version 18? Are you able to access this page or not?" Right. So I clicked on that particular link and I get that specific word, and it says that it has access to it. Even after that, so I gave it a queue, right? And even after that, I had this particular problem here. So I can see that it's invalid enum value, right? So I probably didn't recognize this first, but I should have, since I've worked on these things before. So enum is something that is here. You can see if you just sort of uncollapse this area or expand this area under version 18 here, there's something called enums right away here, right? Enumerations. So you'll see that these are different um, methods that are available or enums that are available here. And within that, you'll be actually able to find whatever was the error message here where clause is performance max. So that's where we will have to figure it out. And once I shared this with it, and this time I actually clarified that this is the error, and now you have to check version 18 API docs and correct the script accordingly. So now it says apologies for the confusion earlier, and performance max is not recognized in the advertising channel subtype, and that is correct because advertising channel type has to be done, set to performance max and not advertising channel subtype. So this is actually identified correctly, and I'll show you the correct working version of this, of this particular script. So this is the working version that I was just, trying. This is again a very simple Bmax metric script, but the output is simply going to look like this. This is just a log within the Google Scripts environment where it's going to give you, different outputs here. So performance max data from last 30 days. It's for all campaigns together, aggregate data. It's going to take impressions, clicks, conversions, like this, right? So that's what it's going to give uh, for each of the campaigns separately. And then it's going to give the aggregate, which is the sum total of these things that is given in the previous version. So it's not giving the name of the campaigns. So that also actually has to be included. And you can just select the campaign name from here in order to do that. But I was running into an error while doing that as well. So that's why I created the simplified version. So what I was talking about in the last part was this thing here, as you can see, advertising channel type equals performance max. So this it wasn't able to recognize first, and it needed that extra nudge. It would have never recognized that. I can guarantee that I have seen in past conversations as well. There's something called hallucination with these tools like ChatGPT. Hallucination simply means that it kind of keeps floating in its own world. So once it starts getting into an error zone, it's very hard to get it out of that zone. Okay, and you will have to nudge it a lot. You will have to prompt it, and you have to know what to prompt. So in this case, I knew that API documentation is a good way to prompt it. So in this part, this has actually identified the problem correctly, that it should not be channel subtype, but rather channel type. So, but even after that, as you can see, it continues the problem. It was not able to recognize max type. And then it made another change. And it says it is a more nuanced approach. And you see that it has replaced it with campaign type this time. So first it was advertising channel subtype, and then it has got did advertising channel type and then a campaign type. So, it was not just that part, it was some other part of the code also that it was getting wrong. But it's now saying that campaign.get type is not a function. Okay. This thing here, this just tells you at what part of the code there is a problem. So you can actually jump into the code itself within the script editor, and you will see that there are line numbers here, right? So you will have to identify this line number. You will have to look at the code error and then see, okay, where exactly the problem is. So don't just mechanically keep prompting, then it's not going to work, especially in something as complicated as this, because there's so much happening within the API documentation. The get type method is not available in Google Ads Script campaign type. So this is something that it should have known previously, but it somehow didn't, and that's why it messed up. So the corrected script, this time it says that it has got the correct script. Okay, and let's see. Right. So now I was seeing that this is actually not able to do this properly. So what I did is, asked it to give a script to give the total account spent in the last 7 days. See, I just changed it. I was initially asking it to do it only for PMS. Now I have asked it to do it for the entire account. And this it was able to do pretty well. Okay. Now, so see what I'm trying to do. I tried initially to start with the PMAX version, right? And I was seeing that it's not able to identify, whatever code it is spitting out, it's not able to identify the campaign type properly. Okay, I can see where the problem could potentially be, but I still was not able to figure out, or I would be able to figure out if I put in enough time. I just wasn't willing to, because obviously that's the whole point. I'm trying to save time. So I just wanted to try a different route here. Okay, so I wanted it to first be able to have a breakdown of the spends by campaign and of the entire account, and then break down by campaign and campaign type instead of directly asking it to go by performance max. I hope you see where I'm going. I'm just trying to do it layer by layer, and then it actually did it. It just gave an updated script for that. Again, gives a sample output. So this is very nice actually. Once you get a sample output, you know that okay, this is going in the right direction. By the way, this is always not going to be possible if it's a very complicated script where it has a lot of visualization stuff going on within Google Sheets. It won't be able to give you that. It will just give it in text format what it's going to do. And this time also, it was only able to recognize search campaigns and not PMS campaigns. So the problem continues, and then it tries to update it again. Okay. Now see, so I was trying to now completely change directions. I was seeing that I actually went into some other um, some other script which was actually functional. And from there, I, took out this part where it was creating this variable here with this particular, this particular methods within these functions, ads, app, or campaigns with condition channel, advertising channel type being one of these two, search or multi-channel. Okay, and then retrieve that information. So I gave the entire script with this. This is what I told ChatGPT. So this is a very specific nudge from my side. And then it gave an updated script again based on that, using that particular information that I gave. But even after that, it says that advertising channel subtype. So it's still getting that wrong. So this is the hallucination part. It has been already told that channel subtype is not, and it has already figured it out. It's not been told actually. It figured it out itself that advertising channel subtype is not going to be working in this context. And it's not even required because we are looking at advertising channel type instead, which is performance max. So this saga of making error after error continues, right? And now I did something completely different. So that part that I had taken out from was from a very long script, and this is basically by Mike Rhodes. You guys must have known about him. He's an absolute guru when it comes to Google Ads scripting. So this is the entire script, and you will see that now I'm going to be scrolling quite a while. So this entire script is from his PMAX Whisperer script, and this is that entire script actually. I think one of his recent versions. So I took that entire script and I just dumped it here. Okay. I hope Mike is not going to sue me for this. But yeah, the whole point of doing this was to feed ChatGPT with the right data. Okay. So this is a working script. I wanted it to have an absolutely complete final version where it's able to identify PMAX properly and not just identify, but do a whole lot of stuff. Just see how long the script is. Of course, it's a huge and complicated script, which has a multiple number of tabs within a Google Sheet output. So it still keeps going, and I hope that we are towards the end of it now. Well, not, well, there we go. So, so I just told him that how does it identify the PMAX campaigns? First, it gave the primary functionality in the output of this particular script, and then I, asked how does it identify PMAX campaigns? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to train ChatGPT here. Okay, so it's like a very intelligent system, but it's kind of like a child. So it has all the knowledge, but it doesn't know how to utilize that knowledge. Okay, at least so far that's the case. And I'll show in a moment how Claude is the elder brother of ChatGPT because it's actually able to process that information much better already. ChatGPT is kind of like a child. It knows the information, you just have to, you know, keep poking it till it spits out the information. So it's doing a very good job of identifying the way it's working. So you can see here again, filtering by channel type is the way it identifies performance max, right? So this is that GAQL query part, okay? And this is how it identifies. So it gets all those informations correctly. So now I tell it that, okay, now that you've done this, now that you've done so much hard work, going through all that script, learning all of this stuff, cleaning that information from that. So now use these learnings for identifying PMAX campaigns from the scripts and update the total account spent by campaign time, be the last script that you gave earlier. So this is a good thing about ChatGPT in its recent models, 4.0 and stuff, where it is able to remember the conversations that you have had in the past. Okay, so now it tries to do that again, and it says that this is going to be the log output. And then I actually found that there's still errors, which is why I said that this is the only way. I saw that once again the problem was that it was using advertising channel subtype, if I'm not wrong, and even in this script that it shared. So campaign type. So no, this time it uses campaign.advertising channel type only. And but yeah, there was some issue, I think, still. Campaign.advertising channel type into performance equal to performance max. Let's see if it did that here. Right, it seems like it did that, but it got it wrong somewhere else. Right. So there is some error, I think, in the way this has been done, right? So you can see that campaign.advertising channel type, this actually has some underscores here. So there was a formatting issue. So this can be very common, like it knows, but it knows only half of the information. So it has got a phrase right, but it doesn't have the syntax correct. So that's why it's making errors. So this saga continues for a while. I tell again that this is a problem. So next, what I did is, okay, see, you're still making errors after all of this. It's probably already 20 minutes of work. And by now I was already aware. In fact, even before I started, I knew that it would probably be better to move to Claude. And I'll just show you how short the conversations are on Claude compared to what I just did with ChatGPT. So now what I did is actually try to get into Google Ads Query Builder, right? So this is basically again part of Google Ads API, as you can see here. And this is also within here only. So there's this query builder part here. So you can go to query builder from any of these sections, whether version 17 or 18. It's obviously best to always go within the latest version. So you'll see here home products, Google Ads API, and under the report section. So there is this thing called query builder. So query builder is going to allow you not to write entire scripts, okay, but to create queries around certain enumerations or certain methods. So this is what I was interested in. So I was trying to find out product data. So by now my interest was also shifting to update the script a little bit more while I was working on this one to something around these lines, right? So not just campaign data, but product data. And I was doing the research and I figured that this is the part, this is that particular method that is required, shopping underscore product. Okay. And this is the resource that you will have to use with the help of the from clause of your GAQL query. Okay. So what do I need? So I need shopping product item IDs. I need the cost. So this is how the cost is usually calculated in micros. That has to be multiplied by 1,000 in order to get to cost, proper cost in dollars or pounds, whatever. Conversions, which is under this metrics dot conversions, this is also metrics dot cost. Then campaign name, campaign dot name, that's the format, and then this has to be retrieved from from shopping product, because everything, if you go to shopping product, actually we'll be able to find out that all of these things are under shopping product in the form of uh, you know uh, in the form of available attributes. So these can be fetched, but I also gave it a condition that where metrics dot conversions are greater than 0 and the campaign name has got feed in it. Okay, and then I also wanted it to order by campaign. So this is the entire GQL query, but I could write this. I'm familiar with SQL at least to a certain extent to be able to do this one, but you can actually do it here. So they have this nice little query builder, so you can just choose it from here. So you can select, what are the things that you require. If I just remove it from here, you'll see that, you will have all the attribute fields that are available. You will have all the segments that are available. You will have, for this particular one, right? Specifically for shopping products. So you can't write GAQL query like from scratch here like that. You'll have to start it from a particular resource. So shopping product is that resource in this case, and then you all have all the metrics. So I chose this metrics, as you can see. So if I wanted to, I can include clicks also. So you'll see now it has updated to also include clicks. I can remove the clicks again and see it will get removed from the query. Very good. So that's how it works. Now I just copy pasted this entire thing, put it into ChatGPT. This is the one. And as you can see that from here, I just only added one part. And that part was campaign.advertising channel type is equal to performance ones. Okay. And the reason I added, of course, is because I wanted the product data for only performance max campaigns. And this is what I actually have now. Okay. That's also the case with my final version of the script, where the channel type is performance max. Let me just see that. Or not. I think in this particular version, it's really the campaign name, right? So here the campaign name has to be provided. So this is particularly from one campaign. Okay. So this is not yet the campaign type version. And so now I asked you to update the script anyway, based on the input that I gave it. And now I saw that this is actually working. Okay. I gave it this version and now it has the metrics from a particular campaign. So you'll see that the campaign channel type is performance max, and it's not a particular campaign, rather it's a particular channel type. So the output that you're seeing here is actually based on a specific campaign name, but I already tried this version previously. I was trying it within the same area, and I have the working version of that script also ready here. So this is the one that I was talking about, this bmax metrics one, and you can see that this is for a particular campaign type. So what I told it now is that, okay, this is working. Okay, so you'll also have to tell ChatGPT, you have to keep giving it feedback, not just the errors, but also what it's getting right. So I told it, okay, so this is working. Now you create a log output of the performance metrics by individual product item ID. And user will have to provide those inputs regarding the specific asset group and the specific PMS campaign. Now this is where it actually hit a wall, because asset groups are very hard to report. Okay, and Uh, there is no specific module that allows you to do it properly. So it tried to do this It tried to, as you can see, it tried to get information, get that input from the user regarding the asset group. And it also has the example log output and all, but it came up with an error. Okay. And I tried to uh, figure out together with ChatGPT what is really working. So I then said that, okay, I just figured that, okay, maybe I just need to give that entire script to, the first version of the product of the script, um, which was supposed to be for all PMAX campaigns. But this time I wanted it to be also for a particular specified PMAX campaign. And this time that's what it does. And it does not include the asset group requirement, as you can see. Okay. And even then it continues to have an error. So you can see just how long this conversation is, and it just keeps going on, keep going on and on. And once again, what I've done is I've given a GAQL once more regarding what I really wanted from it in terms of the outputs. Okay, so I just keep refining this for a while longer, and now I was, once again trying to do this entire thing. So I was trying to rectify a couple of mistakes in the couple of previous conversations, and then I wanted it to give the output for each product or item ID. Okay, so this conversation goes on, and I think even towards the end, we still continue to have these errors. And this is an error actually. This particular error selected shopping campaign product with campaign or ad group recursive quality filter on campaign or whatever. This continued to happen. This was not, see, I'm, even after several conversations, this is probably like, at least close to 10 conversations after the previous couple of conversations. And I keep seeing this particular error from Google Ads scripts. And I just figured that ChatGPT is not going to be able to do it because it continued to give outputs which had the same error every single time. So either it was hallucinating and it's not going to pick up from that hallucination, or it simply does not have the capability to fix that. So this is what I'm saying. So this is where I hit a wall, and I realized that I have to switch to Claude for this one. Okay, and I'll show you. It actually resolved it much faster. So this is what I told it, that give the last 7 days product item cost and conversions data for products within a specified campaign name. So I give a very detailed uh, prompt about what exactly I want. This is the very simple script, remember. So he will have to have a very detailed long prompt. I'll do that also for a more advanced script shortly. I'll create another video for it. But what I wanted to show here is that you need to have each and every element pointed out very clearly in the prompt. And you'll see the report, I mean, the output script on the right hand side. And then I kept asking it to refine it as well. Will the script give all the products data? Okay, and then it refined it accordingly. It had an error here as well, but see how well it handles the error. It immediately understood where the error was. It removed the offset pagination and all of that. It's not required, it realized. And then I saw that it's actually working, which is why I said that update the Dart script now to also include a column called cost per conversion. Remember, this is what we get in the output. That's what I said. So the cost per conversion wasn't there because I hadn't put it originally in the script to fetch that information. It is there actually in the source itself, but I still asked it to just edit it a bit and manually calculate that, and then create charts. So that's where it actually created the variations of the charts. Okay. So there are some other couple of iterations which are still kind of pending. This has not yet been completed. And this is a work in progress where I'm actually going to include correlation, heat maps, and scatter plots between each pairs or metrics. So that is also going to work. And I'm going to share that as well. So with Claude, you can see that it just took a few conversations. But it's not necessary that's always going to be the case. This was a relatively simpler one, but you can see that with ChatGPT, even after so much effort, giving it cues about the API documentation, uh, practically showing it, pointing it out, uh, pointing in, uh, pointing out to it where exactly it was going wrong, or trying so many things, like giving it an example of a working script. Even after that, it was not able to figure out completely till the end, and it kept encountering the same error every single time. So that is when that's kind of like a broken record or something, where it keeps playing, keep looping over the same thing. Then you know that you have hit a dead wall. Even then, sometimes it actually happened, and even then I continued trying for a while. But there's only a limited amount of time I can give to a certain thing, right? Anyone can do that, and that's why I had to decide that I had to leave ChatGPT for it. So this is the decision that one has to take. ChatGPT has its own advantages. It gives very good output in terms of copies and all. It's pretty good with a broader sort of a thought process, a broader strategic consulting sort of an approach. But technically, for technical things, Claude seems to be still better. But there's no guarantee this is how it's going to be. That's the problem. I mean, you know, um, don't take a call just on the basis of this information, because this is a constantly evolving and dynamic field, right? Um, Claude is evolving, OpenAI is evolving, ChatGPT is evolving. There's going to be others also in the field. Gemini is doing a good job. Meta has Llama 3. So many things are happening at the same time. This is constantly evolving things. We'll have to keep an eye out on what's going on, and keep listening to what other people have to say about this as well. So I hope that gave you a good understanding. I tried to give you some idea about a lot of things. It's to be honest, it's not that easy as it looks. If you try to go for more complex variations. So once again, I'll jump into the output here. So I'm pretty happy with the output that it gave. This is the 30-day data. It identified the different products, and the costs for it are given by these bar charts. For some reason, it decided to do a line chart for conversion rate. It wasn't really required, because it's not a time series thing. When it's a time series thing, it's probably better to have this type of a bar chart, this type of line chart. Um, but I would probably just reprompt it to create it and create a bar chart instead of the line chart for this, similar to the other metrics. But this does its product tagging pretty nicely, and it just does what it's supposed to do. It's a very simple script once again, and but even then, for that, it had to go through quite a few iterations, and a lot of reprompting and strategic rethinking for the prompts, especially when it came to ChatGPT. So I hope that answered quite a few of the questions. I'm going to take this further. I'm going to do more sessions on this, and I'm going to create more scripts as well, and um, you know, come out with more tutorials. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. One thing that I will say here in this part quickly before finishing off this particular video is that you understand that coding is no longer such a difficult job, right? It's not like in half an hour, an experienced coder would be able to do a better job. I'll be very honest, they will not be able to, because it is doing what it is supposed to be done in this case. It's just that you have to know the prompting better, and the better you get at prompting, the sooner it's going to do the job. So prompting is one thing you have to understand. Prompting simply means understanding the landscape. Okay, understanding what exactly you need. That has to be very clear in your mind. And secondly, you have to understand the landscape and the ecosystem as well, the domain or the space that you're operating in. So if you're talking about Google Ads scripts, you need to know what the script is about. You obviously have an idea about that. And then you should know what are the components and elements within the API documentation. This is important. Okay, and this I just showed. This is not very difficult to do. We just need to jump into the API documentation and just spend some time on it. Look at the different types of enumerations that are possible. You just do some quick Google searches on that as well, and not just depend on ChatGPT. There can be some good articles which can really quickly sort of give all of this information in a nutshell. Spend some time on Stack Exchange. So do that little bit of research. This is actually going to help you. This initial sort of effort that you put in is going to make it easier for you. Also become familiar with SQL. Just a few clauses can get you started, like select, form, where, all of these things. And it's not that hard. Very simple language to learn, at least for basic queries. More complex queries can get a little complicated. Um, so become familiar with these things. Become familiar a little bit with loops. So I'll say that a little understanding, a little bit of introduction to programming will definitely help. This will help you understand and identify the errors that these LLM models are going to have. But yeah, even as I speak, these are getting better, right? So that's what I was just saying. That this is a very evolving and dynamic field. So it's highly possible that these things are going to get better anyway. But even till then, and especially because of this constantly evolving thing that Google Ads API is, for instance, which is what makes it a little bit harder than other things. You can actually create, scripts for Shopify. For instance, if you're using Shopify API, you can generate the scripts as well using LLMs. But that's, from my space, that's been much faster because Shopify doesn't change that documentation nearly as much as Google Ads does, in the same frequency. So yeah, these are the foundational topics that I wanted to cover for this particular discussion. I will be back with more videos and tutorials hopefully very soon. I'll be working on some scripts and giving you live demos again. So yeah, if you have any questions, do let me know. If you want me to discuss in a specific, part about discuss about a specific part a bit more, or you want to focus on some other area of this entire thing, or you want me to create any kind of specific tutorials about more foundational things about coding and scripting, then you can also let me know, which will make on entirely from the point of view of a marketer. Of course, there's so much tutorials out there. There's so much information out there already on scripting and coding. There's no dearth of that. But it's going to be a marketer to marketer thing. So yeah, if you need anything of that sort, do let me know in the comments. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.